What's going on? Hey, Bree.
Hey,
How goes it?
it goes. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Happy Wednesday. It's the end of the month, finally. It's literally the last day of the month. Um, and I know we're not normally live on Wednesdays, but something came up on Monday and I could not avoid it. So, hi, Wednesday.
No.
Um, Tonight, I wanted to have a discussion about boom, looks and do they matter? And it's a conversation that Maria and I have had kind of sparingly and in between other topics, but with um with our push for making sure that at least the people who are listening to us are politically astute, at least astute enough to know what they're talking about in the political climate. Um, the big person on the ticket, the big topic item is Ms. Kamala Harris. She is the current VP vice president and first ethnic woman to hold that position. And then she'll be the first president if she wins the election. And I just wonder if looks matter, if this is going to be the defining moment for women, like showing up for work. Because remember, one of our first conversations, Marie, you were talking about being an IT girl, right? And how you get to dress however you want because it's not about being around people per se. And then people start having something to say about what you're wearing. Nothing to do with your job or your ability to do the job, but with what you're wearing, right? Or did I get that wrong?
Um, yeah. I think we had a change of management, and they were, wanting you to look the par per se. Where we initially kind of started off as more of a Zuckerberg t-shirt, jeans. You can wear your little zip-up hoodie or whatever. No one, typically you weren't client facing, anyways. Even when you had presentations, you weren't. No one was like in the video per se. But I also overall found that in life, like it's like a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes if you look too nice, then it's like you're exuding sex appeal, and so people don't respect you because of that. Let alone, well, you look a certain way, so maybe I don't. I've never seen someone look like shit and thought they didn't know how to do their job. And be honest, I'm like, well, maybe they saved all their energy for the decisions at work. However, I've seen that, at least for women, that looking nice can be a double-edged sword, right? You can look sharp or whatever, but then they question, can you really do the job? Are you just another pretty face? Um,
That is a double-edged sword because in the climate that we're in, sometimes we're told that you only got in because you're cute to look at. It's a fun environment when we've got certain people in certain roles.
I've
Um,
experienced that. I had somebody
from
even
there,
send me an email at work, like you only got this role for bending and grinning. I'm like, oh,
and I mean, how relevant to the conversation because people say that the reason Ms. Harris is even a contender is because of how many people she's gotten to know. Let's just put it like that, right? And then, from there, it is that it, or is she good at her job? A big thing that I've heard about her and why people shouldn't be voting for her is her record of putting black men in jail for different things. I think specifically, the nonviolent offense of being a weed smoker or carrier or something like that. From there, she was a prosecutor, right? That's what lawyers are supposed to do. They're supposed to fight crime, be tough on crime, and if that is a
they're supposed to,
crime, then
I guess.
right. So, I don't know that she's been bad at her job. I don't like all the laughing. Marie, I can't get past the laughing. She'll be talking about something very serious. For example, I saw one of the men who was incarcerated, and I want to say it said he was wrongfully incarcerated, so I'll have to look it up again. But he was talking about how, yeah, I think it said he was wrongfully incarcerated. And he was talking about how Kamala was right there in the courtroom and she kind of laughed, even though it was being found out that he was in there when he wasn't supposed to be in there. And let me find that so I can just source it for you guys. But I've seen her laugh a bunch of times for a bunch of really serious stuff, like when she said she wasn't going to do anything specific for Black people, or she's talking about going to the border and then she had never been to the border at that time. Is it like a nervous laughter? I don't know, but
I honestly think it is, to me, it seems like a nervous laughter. While I feel like, the funny part is I watch her and I watch Donald like dance around questions a lot. Like neither one of them actually answer the question, which I honestly don't necessarily. It's almost like someone's coached you to be a politician, like in the proverbial sense or stereotypical sense of, well, we're not going to. Love my MacBook effects. We're not going to. We're gonna act like we're not gonna answer questions. We're not gonna, which I kind of just like listening to. But they both do that shit, by the way. Like I'm kind of like, okay, like you could even ask them a question and they'll paraphrase it. So they'll repeat the question back to you. Like, yes, I think somebody talked about inflation. And then she's like, so let's, and then she started talking about, these are people working, their money isn't reaching the. What you gonna do about it, sis? Like, I ain't asked you to repeat the question back to me or phrase it in another way. And I think what it is for her, and even in that instance, she wants to come across like she understands. All right, it's good you understand, but what you finna do? What you finna do? And even her policies, to be honest with you, they only benefit a lot of her policies that are supposed to assist with what's going on financially actually only benefit like the lower middle class. Like if anyone making below 100,000, she has something for you. Anyone making above 100,000, well, you almost, it's like one of those things where then you get grouped into them. Like, but I ain't them now. What
that's
you got?
true.
I ain't them. What you got? Like, do I need to make my CPA make it look like I'm in love? Do we finagle after you took all your taxes out, my health insurance, 401k? Are we gonna go off of that? Like, because if not, like, you really ain't got nothing for me. But that's actually very common for most people, anyways, right? That's the catch where it's like either the really poor are helped or the really rich are helped. But everyone else in between is like getting their asses handed to them. Like we're all just, I'm not poor, but I'm not rich, and it's hard.
No, I mean with the prices of things going up, and I don't know why she chose to answer that question this way, but they're asking her about how she plans on doing something about the economy because she's sending so much money other places, and then she just kind of says, yeah, things cost more and we're gonna have to do something about it. And it's like, no, that's actually what they asked you. Like, what are you going to do about it?
So we got you understand the question. Right. So what is your no, we didn't ask you to find a better way to say the question or to regurgitate it or be a source for us. We really wanted to know like what you planned on doing.
Right.
But again, that's like it's politician speak. It's like the stereotypical, like what like they say politicians do versus, and there are some that actually have said, well, they have a solution and they outline the solution. Where it's like, and the funny part too, I could see if somebody was like, someone filibusters you or cuts you off. There's no one even cutting you off, and this is all you've got to say, ma'am.
Right. And maybe she's pausing for the interruptions, right? Like she was told, it was beat into her, she was barbell, no, that she's gonna have a lot of dissent. Be ready for the dissent. So let them know that you know what they're talking about. Okay, fine. But then to the point that you made about the lower middle class getting the benefit, and you are so right. It's like the scale it's lopsided, and I find that it's in favor of people who are not supposed to be here because they're not making the money, and then they are coming into cities and getting benefits. And when you build back better, I think that's her plan. Build America back better, something like that. 3 B's, and you lift up the poor and the low middle class, and then they can eat the upper middle class, and then then the upper class doesn't get touched at all. So I don't know. Marie, upper middle class people, did you ever be like angry you didn't qualify for food stamps? Like you
Hell
had
yeah, I be wanting to qualify now. Like I would like to make 6 figures and qualify for food stamps still, but not in the way that like my debt to income ratio is that high. I just would like some too because food is high.
That's what I'm
And
saying, right? Because the cost of food has gone up, the government should assist in different ways. I remember when Bernie was running and he wanted to do like the universal basic income, and everybody kind of gets this starting point, and I feel like maybe that's socialism starting to peek its head through.
I mean,
Then,
but hell, isn't a firefighter socialism?
I guess we do have some concept. Look, and that's the thing. America is not this democracy everybody thinks it is, right? it's really something else. It's got democracy on the label, but it's like when y'all go to the grocery store, right? You don't necessarily trust that something's organic per se, or at least you shouldn't. Some stuff they've paid for the label. Like you can, oh, what is it? Vegan. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's good for you. But if you pay for the extra label, then now you can slap vegan on it because it had nothing to do with animals, what you did, and then from there, it's a bunch of chemicals.
Yeah, I be seeing that shit.
People are buying it because it says vegan. So they're like, oh, it's healthy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the non-vegan option. Because what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, it's no. They're like, it's okay, synthetic. We made it.
Yeah, nah.
Oh yeah, it's a hell no for me. Like, I'm good. Go on, run me that pork. Like, see that pig right there? I'll take that over that any day.
That is.
I'm gonna head out.
I mean, but that's what we're dealing with. People, they have these labels for things. I mean, and it's the society we live in, and then it trickles down into these other environments under the umbrella. So, people thinking that it's a democracy. I've seen so many different times on these social platforms where people are saying, well, the Democrats didn't even want her last time, and now because they don't have anybody, this is who they have. And maybe this is who they have.
I guess with her being VP, though, that makes her like runner up because in theory,
right. I kind of figured it would be so strange if they just pulled somebody like out of left field, like they just completely skipped over her and said, yeah, no, we're going to go with Joe Blow from Minnesota. And it's like, where did he come from?
I mean, in comparison, to be honest with you, I will say this. So I get emails from both the Democratic and the Republican Party. And it seems like the Republicans do see her as a threat or a concern, where I think that with Biden, they knew they had everything sewn up. They like, this motherfucker senile. Like, he is actively, consistently, saying or doing something like that he can't help wandering off, saying the wrong thing, like incoherent sentences, like just on a regular basis. Biden is just fucking up where it was like, we ain't even really got to do shit. Like, just let Biden keep Bidening. And then I think it really took like almost an act of God or an act of Congress to get him to be like, I can't do this, or I should not do this. You know what I mean? Because in essence, too, like what some people may look at, oh, he bowed. No, he really should not have continued. Like, he should not. And it's not that he should not be president because I don't like his values or anything. He would not win. He cannot, he cannot get up there and debate anymore. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to get up there and to really compete with Donald Trump. And not to say that Donald Trump is just that, because he's not talking about shit either. Don't get it twisted. But he still's more coherent. He still has his aptitude. His intellectual aptitude is still a bit much more there. And then where it's not, he's going to like fill in with bullshit anyways, like bullshit slogans or whatever. He going to say something. Bless you.
Thank you. No, you're right. And the Joe that we have now is not the Joe we had during Obama time. And it's not the Joe we had right before he became president. And I know I've had this argument, or at least statement, about how the presidency ages you. Trump was president, and I don't know if he looks super old now than he did when he went in the first time. So maybe he took the presidency by the balls, just like he says that he likes to grab women by the,
You said he doesn't look as old, or what do you?
I'm saying like if you look at Obama from when he got in there to when he exited, he aged. It
Oh
was
yeah.
it was a very
I think
noticeable
he really
age.
took that shit serious. Or it could have been the fact that sometimes black does crack when it's half white. Like that's one of my
That's a
theories in
very good
life
point
is
too.
that I have a white mother. I don't this shit could go left at any time. I'd be so flattered when people are like, "Oh, you're 40, like you sure, motherfucker?" Like put that in writing.
Oh.
I like you just don't know, you know what I mean? But
No,
I
I mean
will
that's
say
real
this
though. That's real.
I will
But
say
even
this though,
go ahead.
that I do think that while Obama had a multitude of failures as a president, I do think that there was a certain level of genuineness. I feel like that there's a certain level of hopefulness that went into him becoming president. Like it was like a hope thing. I just think that motherfucker got there and realized it wasn't what you thought it was. And then there's all this other pressure. And then too, there's so much pressure being the first black anything. Like anytime blacks go out to do anything, it's like we're always expected to like do everything right, be monolithic, please everybody. Like, what do you mean? Like, how did that help the blacks? You're like, fuck. How did you look in front of like? Did you wear a tan suit? What does that make the blacks look like? Do it look like we taking the road serious? Like, it's so hard to be the first black anything. You know what I mean? So I don't even know if you really just gonna be good or just accept that you're the first black and like shit. All I gotta do is show up. Like, if I just keep showing up,
That's a
if
hell
I
of a
just get a
point.
C, shit, long as I don't, long as I don't blow this motherfucker up or nothing falls apart while I'm here, just do your time. Like you in prison, shit. Do your time and just get out. Shit. Like,
I mean, I like that thought. I mean, with Obama, what I know is that he was that Joe Blow from the middle of nowhere person that the DNC decided at some point in his life, or his parents, or
were you there for
some.
that speech?
Say again.
That speech he gave?
Which one?
He gave a speech in 2004 and it was like so fucking captivating. And this
Oh
was like,
yeah, yeah. But
that
that's
was
when
like,
people didn't know who he was,
oh
right?
yeah. And then it was like, then for him to not him to be a nobody and gave that speech, motherfuckers was just like, who
Right.
are you? The Democrat. I remember I was like I was like a CNA back then. I'm like 19. And there's like this older white woman, like I'm in like this nursing home, and she's just like everyone's spellbound. Like everyone was like he was like the hope, like if he ever ran for president.
But that goes back into the topic. Looks, they matter. Obama's handlers, they knew that it was going to be a certain look that would have helped him win the
I mean, he had the
presidency.
swag.
Well, I mean the swag, but Marie, I don't know where and how it was passed on to him and then it wasn't translated to Kamala, because essentially they have similar types of backgrounds. But Obama was dating white girls before Michelle, like before his whole thing into where he is now. He had to drop a lot of that shit so that
I
he could
mean,
be
a
this
lot of your
black
options are
man.
going to school in Hawaii though.
Say again.
Going to school in Hawaii though, a lot of your options. I see that.
No, and look, I'm just saying that goes into
But
the
I'll tell you
handling
this though.
aspect.
So Obama has the effect of Obama gives token Negro. He's a token
Yeah.
nigga. He's the like, so understand something too, right? So sometimes black men can come into a workplace and they're not like, I'm gonna say this. So some of them are seen as a threat, like, oh, he's a little aggressive.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Obama has
And
this
that's what
coolness, like he's tall, he played basketball. He's a cool ass black guy. People are excited, like they love to invite his black ass to all their events. That's their token black friend. That's the friend when they like, I got a black
yeah,
friend.
he's
That's the black
non-threatening.
woman. The
Yeah,
white girls
non-threat.
love him. The white men think he's so fucking cool. It's like that's Obama. But I'm gonna say this. Black women, or even women, non-black women don't just have that same luxury, right? You have to have a certain look. You have to
Sure.
be appealing in
It's
a
gotta be
certain way.
more.
You
Yeah.
have to have that. And so to be honest with you, Kamala to me, she gives awkward. Bless you.
Say that she gives what?
She gives awkward. She's awkward. She doesn't give me, I don't get just this confident woman. I get a little awkward because I also feel like there's something there where I even feel like, how she identifies as like, sometimes you'll see your places where she does identify like as a Indian woman, or then you see your
Mhm.
places where it seems like she does identify as a Black woman. But a part of me feels like the line she walks or the double consciousness is different. Like even for me, I identify as a Black woman. There might be some times I may have to acknowledge that my mother's a white woman, but at no time can I ever really say that I have a white experience. I'll never have the experience of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman where to some degree I could actually see where even, with her culture, her mother's culture, I could see how maybe she can still, and because of her complexion or culture, whatever, because she does have some racial ambiguity. So I could see actually how she could even blend into that world by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there seemed to me there's like some confusion there, which is where I say the awkwardness, even too, she didn't marry Indian man. She married a white man.
Right.
And I think that speaks to the volume of even too, like for me, I've dated outside of my race or whatever. And when I say outside of my race, I've dated some like, might have been from Egypt, but he was more Arab. You know what I mean? I've dated a guy that was Pakistani, but he was actually like British Pakistani, right? To me, that's outside of my race. They was brown though. But even too, there's certain things we had in common or certain enemies that we shared, and we were able to sit and relate to each other in that way because we're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. The man, yeah, they all, but I say that to say that I don't think that I would ever feel comfortable being with a white man. Even though, my mother's a white woman, I don't think we have anything in common. Our life experiences are completely different. Also, I'm a little militant. So if I was him, I wouldn't trust being with me. And not to say that there's not white men that I'm related to that I love and trust, but even too, they've made me aware of privileges that white men have or just different things like that. So I do see it or I know for a fact that I'm not like them. So I could never marry or have children with or etc. because it just wouldn't
Not the
match.
same experience. I mean, I like the connections with the mixtures because I don't have any mixtures that I can, name like that, maybe lots of generations ago. And then you are one of the firecrackers of the world. And so is Obama. And it's the melanin plus the non-melanin that makes a firecracker. And then you can go in any direction. You've made this point a few different times about how, you've never identified as anything other than a Black woman outside of acknowledging your direct lineage, right? But Kamala, I don't know that I've ever heard her identify as a Black woman as much as I have heard her identify as Indian. And then when people label her as Black, she never says I'm not. And I'm not going to take her Jamaican ancestry away from her. I'm just going to say that right now it matters how you identify because it might be how you are looking at resources. Now, Obama, did he call himself a Black man?
Actually, he did. But here's something I thought about too, though. Is it so much as how she identifies or how she's seen?
I think
because really identification is how you're seen. So I'm seeing people see, like, so I'm gonna say this, and something me and my cousin, I have a white cousin. We had a whole conversation because he be wanting me to be white sometimes so bad. And I'm like, look, that's just not it, right? And I even had to go back and say, remember how you referred to Obama as a Black man? He was Black to you because he's not your fucking cousin. But other than that, that's what you seen was a Black ass man. At no point did you consider the fact that he has a white mama. You don't think about it. And actually his white family played a larger role in his life than his Black family because his daddy left.
Right.
But my white male
cousin, African, let's just throw that out there, not a Black American.
My white male cousin seen that man as a Black man to him. When I heard whites refer to him, when I used to work for the DNC and I'd be places, he was an uppity nigger. I've heard like all kinds of weird negative rhetoric, but he was seen as Black.
Yeah.
And honestly,
that's the thing, that's the look though.
When a white woman has a child with a Black man, unless that motherfucker's an athlete, they're frowned upon anyways. They just looking like, what would you? Why?
I mean, even the athletes have to toe the line and do the things. But I mean, I think this is all relevant to the topic of looks mattering because, I don't know why they didn't give her the same handlers that he had, because he was able to walk the walk. She went to an HBCU, for Christ's sakes. Like you said, Obama was living in Hawaii, with limited.
But what they say, the black woman effect.
So maybe that is what Michelle would have been to him, and then unfortunately Kamala had Doug, and there's no. I mean, there it is. Boom, you just hit the nail on the head, Marie. That's the awkward. It's the white husband effect. So she didn't have the black white effect on him. He had the white husband effect on her, and then she went from Miss.
And that's probably where she chose the line. You know what I mean? Just in general, that because even to me, choosing to marry a white man an Indian man, not a black man. To me, there's a lack of comfort in your racial identity. To be honest with you, I don't see it as.
Maria, I don't know that any Indian men would have been checking for her because of her history. We started with her having access to certain places because of who she knew and how well she knew them. Everybody's seen the video of her and Montel now, right? Like, she's on the red carpet with Montel, and this is before she's anybody big. And then she's with Willie Brown, and then he's pushing her for, the prosecutor seat. And then I think she kind of shits on him later. But at the end of the day,
But too going back to
no, I'm just saying, if she were just doing her job, then maybe she would have had some Indian suitors. But I feel like those men are pretty stringent on the things. Like, they is this an arranged marriage culture type of people?
But in essence, but I think even the fact that her mother choosing, let's also talk about, this is the culture that has a caste system. Her mother choosing to marry a Jamaican man in general, that is problematic for their culture as it is. Mm-hmm. They do practice colorism, things like that. I don't foresee her being ideal unless he was an Americanized Indian man.
Right. Yes, I agree with that.
That because they do have, a lot of them do practice the arranged marriage. The friends and colleagues I've had, that was what their families did. Why would I choose a Kamala when I can go have a catalog or a database of women that I can choose from? And going back to, typically that's more traditional. That's what they're looking for as well. But then even for her, she can't even necessarily relate to that culture as of her growing up.
Because she's not been around that like that. I mean,
there's so many variables.
Her story said that her mom, moving to America and Canada was like, her mom's been a rebel. Essentially, every time I'm reading about her mom, it's like she's doing some shit that's outside of the norm. So then now you've got Kamala, and she done married Doug, and that's outside the norm. And, it's like, okay.
Or Doug received her,
Sure.
Let's say that.
No, or he saved her, because let's be honest, if her handler said, look, you need to be married, you cannot run for president not being married, you don't have no kids there, you don't seem like a family person, right? Because isn't that the thing, when you go into politics, you have to look the part, or the people aren't going to trust you. How do we know that you've got ties to us when you haven't lived here for a certain amount of time, or a certain amount of years, or whatever? Or just family values. Do you have a family? How do we know that you value this if it's not there? And then now you've got to put on a show for the public for them to.
But I mean, overall, when did she become Attorney General? Because even too, I think people forget that she was also Attorney General. She also was a senator. And I think in certain roles, it just looks better for you to be a married woman as opposed to a single woman.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the look that she had to. That's the look. And let me pull it all up. She
But then I also see, like,
it's
so funny, whenever I am traveling, like I'll be like on a vacation and I'll be like somewhere, it's always some Jewish white man that's always trying to like approach me. And I feel like it's funny as hell because it's happening.
You mean like to you, like, hey girl,
or date or whatever, but it's almost like to some degree Kamala also has this exotic look. And then you reach a certain point in your life and you have money, you already had your kids, you're done having kids. Now you can kind of pick.
Yeah, there you go.
To you.
We're going into the looks, because this is not to do with the type of person she is or what she's about to do for anybody, as much as does she look like a person that is going to work for me. I mean, I guess as a wife or as a person.
But you know what though, even to that laughy shit, I would think as a man you'd be a breath of fucking fresh air. Like you just always just so
Oh, you're
lighthearted.
just so
About
right.
it's like for him, it's like, you know, he doesn't have, because even too, again, she's not giving that sass. Even when she tries to sound, you
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah.
it's not sounding like she had said something like, well, what do they say? Say it to my face. That is not how it's, listen, period. You finna debate with me, period. It's not giving what, you know, you would typically, again, it's kind of almost like I'm trying to fit in. And to me, I don't care for the pandering.
There you go.
I don't care for the pandering on either side. Like to me, there's nothing, but for me, there's nothing that Megan, Hulk Hogan, Amber Rose, there's nothing a fucking entertainer who, to me, I don't feel like your knowledge, that's not your field of expertise. Is going to tell me about who the fuck I need to vote for. Like
That's
you,
right.
okay,
And
shit,
that's
like, why,
why.
girl? Now, Amber Rose, you want to talk about sucking dick or something under that guideline? How to get pregnant by a rapper or something? Facial tattoos, I'm there.
I mean, I'm
Slut.
not there, but that would be your area of
I mean,
expertise,
I would
right?
be there for
Yeah.
that. Like, I mean, but that would be, I would think that's her field of expertise or her area
There
of
you go.
expertise. But at no point, you know, am I like, yes, Amber, please tell me how America isn't inherently racist. Yes, I'm looking for your thoughts and views on. I'm not looking for that from you.
No. And that's why shit like this it's just insulting.
Now I know my ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot girls. And if you want to keep loving your body, you know who to go for. You know, hey. Hey.
I mean,
hey.
I see, to me, I feel like, well, I'm glad she didn't get up there and do a speech, even though I think that Megan isn't given the credit that she kind of deserves. The fact that she even finished college and she didn't really have to, and she was already somewhat of a megastar, to me speaks volumes. However, I would think, though, someone like Megan should lead towards the progressive side. She does talk about her body and her sexuality on a regular basis. Therefore, women that, you know, advocate for, you know, choice, to me, that would be the candidate I would go for. Even though
that's a hell of a point,
racial.
Marie.
You said what?
That's an excellent point. Here's the thing, though. Saying that you're progressive, like the women who are progressive like that are also the women who complain about getting too much attention or people being inappropriate towards them when they might be inappropriate in public. And then from there, it's like society has really turned into this snowflake society because nobody can take any criticisms or any sort of judgment, you know. Feel how you want to feel, but just know that this is how other people are going to feel about you. And I don't have no issues with what you said about Megan's academia. I think that's cool. You know, I think she's a big woman, and that's a whole stereotype that you would have to try to get around. You know, how do you be a feminine big woman? You know, most time you see a big woman, you'd be like, oh, that bitch plays basketball. I don't think I've ever looked at Meg Thee Stallion and said, that's a basketball player, as much as it's just been like, whoa, she's that Amazonian bitch that these niggas talk about. Like they want to disappear in her bosom because she's, you know, large and in charge. She also got shot in the foot. And that's unfortunate because, well, I just think she's got a whole story, right? Maybe we need to do a segment on Megan one day, because underdogs normally don't get the credit that they're supposed to get as much as people like to talk about the other shit. But Kamala, she's got awkward black girl. We're gonna give her black girl, right?
And then she has to, We'll give her that.
We'll give her awkward black girl, but then you have to put her next to black girls, black women. You have to juxtapose her to blackness to give her the black association, because without it, she is Indian. She's Indian presenting. I mean, I wouldn't say that was a light-skinned woman as much as I don't know if I would have pegged you as a light-skinned woman, right? Like, you look more Mexican than you do mixed, or not Mexican.
I only get that from black people. White people always assume I'm black.
Really?
Men always want me to be something else. They want me to be
Well, they want you to be something other than black, right? They want you to be.
And it's like, you sure? Like, no, I'm pretty much fucking sure, motherfucker.
Are you sure you're black?
Like, you sure you can't? I mean, you giving Fodikwa to me. I'm like, well, I'm not. But I guess it allows me to navigate certain rooms and then continue to navigate once they discover my blackness. I get to talk and
That's the whole point. I mean, have you seen the book White Like Her?
Mm-mm.
It's a book. Let me share it on the screen real quick. It's about this white woman who's got some blackness in her, and what happened is her mom was white passing, but she went to her grave. I'm talking like she was not going to tell anybody about her story at all. And it was to the point where her daughter was doing some genealogy and found a birth certificate, or went out and got her mom's birth certificate, and it said COL on it. And she's like, COL? Well, what is that? So then she gets the letter from Louisiana Health Department saying that means colored. So, that means that she's colored. And so she asks her mom, like, what's going on? I thought we were white. And her mom's like, look, you can't tell nobody until I die. So then I guess her mom dies, and she writes a book about how her mom's been white passing and how they just always thought that they were white. And now that they know that they've got some black in them, the world is different looking. And I mean, back in the day,
it changes things for you, because it even too, I think it heightens your awareness or even your sensitivity necessarily, because mind you, people are going to say things in front of you that they think that may not apply to you. So they're going to be more open, more direct, and they're going to say the things, or you're going to be like, what? Oh, okay. Huh.
Absolutely. I mean, here's her. Let's see. Get all right, come on, lady. Where'd you go? Here we go.
Until after.
Right. Look.
At first, she denied it.
Y'all not gonna be able to tell me that you could look at her and she said, and see anything other than whatever she said she was.
About this.
Even her.
Until after I died.
I mean, that's her mom.
That was Creole, though. Think about it.
There you go.
But I mean, the Creole has white in them, so there's that.
No, it is, and she's white passing, right? So there's white in her DNA and her genetic history, and then for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, racism, white supremacy. I'm not stupid. Black people had a choice. If you passed and nobody knew your past, you could be whoever you wanted to be. Like, they would have to prove you wrong, and then on top of that, there's the privilege of somebody being outed or not outed, or you having powerful enough friends to keep your secret. To keep your
secret. I think even Black folks that knew that you were passing let it ride because they understood what was happening. I think there was a story one of my great aunts was telling me about. It was like one of her brothers, and even though she was dark skinned, she had a brother that was fair skinned. There was a lot of since, like, my family came from the Clyburn plantation out of South Carolina, and on both sides there was rape. So there were, and then what I noticed going down my ancestry line is that a lot of the biracial children married other biracial children, and it was like that for a few generations until I want to say it was almost like till my grandfather and my grandmother they got together, where there wasn't this fair skin, and so then that kind of changed the dynamic. But because of that, there were some that were mixed that looked damn near white in some of the photos, but they were, black and white, I guess, but not by choice. It was, their mother was raped by a slave owner, and their mother was raped by a slave owner, had these kids, but I guess too, because even going back to where colorism came from, or even the promotion of it, is, you're kind of pairing these groups. You got the house slave, you have the plantation slave. Some of that was impacted too by also complexion, who look fair, where they get that whole who's more docile, or but that being said, she had told me about how one of her brothers would pass, but no one said, like, when he would go out to that part of town, Like they knew it, but no one ever say shit. But I guess it's like, because would you want something bad to happen to them just because?
No, that's real. That's very real. And to that point, it about looks mattering. If it's a safety thing, and it is a safety thing, when people are operating in environments that are not theirs and they're unable to navigate those waters, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You look like you wearing a costume. Like, you don't want to be the person impersonating a cop in front of a cop, because even if the cop doesn't know, they might ask you something that is just super common and you just got on the outfit and you don't know how to respond. And now they're looking at you funny. You got a super big focused lens on you. And I find that that's where Kamala is right now, because the DNC has said that you're our best hope against the orange man. So we got colors going on. We got the orange man and we got the brown woman, and America needs the brown one because the orange one is mean.
I mean, in comparison, to some degree, they're not wrong.
No, I don't even think that. Right. Nothing is.
Like, you don't talk shit about. And the thing is that, like, you don't talk shit about Trump, but like, why would I legitimize Trump? Like the irony is, like, I absolutely know he's not a good candidate. So it's really not much for me to talk about. But hey, if you are going to go for this person, let's have some expectations or some desires, or let's have an accountability conversation, or give me something I actually fucking want, like maybe
right. Well, that's the tangible. That is the trade-off that you got to do.
Attacking her. You just keep, no, I'm actually attacking her would be me attacking her appearance, her ethnicity, her gender.
Right. No, we haven't. Who said we were attacking her?
I've been told that by lots of Black people.
No, they need to stop being snowflakes, because in real time, she doesn't give a shit about y'all. Like, this is my honest opinion about Kamala. She understands her position of being the token. And I really wished that she had the same handlers as Obama, because then it wouldn't be so confusing for me why so many Black people are stuck on her. I mean, there's been men telling me that they like her because they like how she looks. Like they really on this sex thing,
men love a little silk press. They love that shit as much as they
I think that's a wig.
I did notice that was a wig. But
I think it's a wig, but
it's more. I was trying to figure it out. Like, so is it long under there? Like the superficial, like, but is it long or short under there? Like, what you got going? Is it thinning? Like, what's happening?
You got that? You remember that Barbie doll from Rugrats, the Cynthia doll, and it's got like hair like that.
Like like the Barbie doll off of Barbie, that like at the end, like that's how they all go. Like when they start tearing up the doll, they actually made a real Barbie doll where her hair is like, and then she has a little crayon marker on her.
Yeah, like that Barbie doll. Man, look, don't let the wind pull up her hair, and then we get to see it's like a toupee. But no, all of that aside, I like when America looks like we know what the fuck we're talking about. And at least with the orange one,
I mean, we ain't did that in a long time, but
no, I know, but this is why I've divorced from the system of giving away my vote for free. If there's no tangibles on the ballot for me, then you will not find me there. And to the Blacks and people who are voting Republican because they don't like the Democrats, y'all are stupid. Now, if you're voting for the Republicans because you see a tangible that makes sense for you, like
I did like that no payroll tax. It sounded real good to me. I was like, oh, no payroll tax. I like that. Like, can you even do
from
that?
Who? From Kamala?
No, Trump. No, the Republican side. He did say that. Though. I was like, I mean, I wouldn't vote for
Kamala didn't say
but
no
if y'all
payroll tax.
voted for him and it actually happened and I didn't have a payroll tax, I wouldn't be mad. But
I'm sorry, my finances were fine under Trump. The only thing that I had to worry about is the same thing that we've always had to worry about, which is these racist, crazy people who go on rampages sometimes in places where you wouldn't expect. And that's kind of been a constant.
But here's the thing, though. Like, so when you say your money was fine under Trump, your money was fine under Trump because you're really under Obama's economy.
And that's all right. So then that's the trickle down effect thing that happens.
We're in the Trump's economy because this is the after effect of giving welfare to corporations, giving
which is why he's
corporations
not the
welfare
person
checks.
for the job.
But that's also why they can't wait to get that motherfucker back in there because they're like, oh, we're gonna get
You
we're
need
gonna
that
get some
money
more
back.
corporate welfare. We get some more corporate food stamps.
Very good.
While the rest of us end up paying for it. Because even too, the inflation, if you think about it too, as much as we'd like to say, oh, it's just inflation. And so it's Trump's economy. But then there's this thing too that just boils down to it. It has to do with both Democrats and Republicans. It's a lack of fucking regulations. And I'm, for me to be honest with you, a lot of my views are conservative, but they're conservative when it comes to an individual. They're conservative in a way of, and I wouldn't even say conservative, more so like I'm hands off, right? But entities, businesses, industries, oh no, them motherfuckers need to be regulated. They're out of hand. They're rogue.
Oh yeah, they're out of
And the
hand
fact
so
that they're
much
writing
that you can
legislation.
hire people who aren't from here and not get shut down when ICE raids. Like that's crazy. But here's the thing though. We've already said that Trump's not the man for the job, and Kamala, I don't know that she's the woman for the job, but I think that
I mean, who at this point, anyone, a fucking Cheeto could do the job. My
the
fucking
job seems to
19-year-old could do the
be.
job because someone else is doing it for them anyways. There's a shadow government. They're just
There you
doing what
go.
the fuck they're told. Anyone can do the job. Anyone can be fucking incompetent. Anyone can continue to run the country into the ground. Even think about the fact that, like we're being, like I owe the IRS about $3,000 from last year or whatever, right?
$30,000?
No, three, right?
Oh.
But here's the thing, right? The Pentagon can't account for like millions. And you ask me about $3 grand, fuck you very much. You go figure out where all, and then, but let me give you another endless budget after you just mismanage this other, like what the fuck is happening? Like, let's be real. Like there's a lot of incompetency.
It's not incompetency, Marie. It's that they are picking and choosing what they want to support. And what you just talked about, the budget, if we got a president in the office who put America first for real, and not the corporations who send jobs to other places and not the people who've got ties to other places. But I looked at the last 4 years of the defense budget, $705 billion, $715 billion, $777 billion, $842 billion. That's about $3 trillion. And then from there, why is our defense budget so much? And it's because we starting these fires and putting out fires, starting fire, putting it out.
We ain't got money for shit but wars. We ain't got no money for no housing. We letting everything, we letting corporations run amok in America. Then overseas anything. Do you even know that what's been happening with the border plan? So I don't think people know, like, one, first of all, America's had their hand in Venezuela shit so much, it's ridiculous. Like all the time, forever and ever. And I say that to say that their actions to kind of help with the migration that they caused is to like arm people at the borders in these other countries. So you're giving them guns. No wonder these fucking people are running the fuck up out of there. I would too. And then they're even on record admitting to like coups and all this shit that they've been doing. And they're like, we tried this, we tried, even to like, we gave them all our damn cards. And like, I'm just like, are you like, this is like at a hearing committee. So it's like, you guys are actually admitting, which goes with everything I'm saying, that even America's immigration issue is due to America's like meddling issue, our issue of fucking with things everywhere, trying to do things, our shadow government, deep state shit we're out doing here and there, and then doesn't come out for 15 years. So to some degree, America might be getting the fucking government they deserve, if we just be honest, for not holding. And I say that to say, if you're not holding these people accountable, then to some degree there's some blood on your hand too, right?
Yeah,
you're not speaking out, right? So this is what happens when you just kind of you get lazy. You just stop trying, which I mean that makes for a great like communist government. Like if we ever become part of the Soviet Union or we become our own version of the Soviet Union, the fact that the cumbersome, the lackadaisy attitude of doing fucking nothing, that's how it works. That's how you become a Nazi. You do nothing. You do nothing. You just do what your government says. Just keep your head forward. Keep your head down. Keep your head forward. Just don't. That's what your government needs you to do, so they can continue to impose bullshit on you. That's how fascism works. Yeah. Carry on.
No, that's real. That's real. And if y'all in the audience and people who might listen to this recorded, if you don't hold the people that you're voting for accountable, then you are responsible. I mean, I'm going to hold you responsible because I didn't vote for these people. I want to know what y'all got. You know, people say, "Oh, I got black judges for my vote last time," and it's like, but Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't know what a woman is. So, you know, are we splitting hairs at this point? You know, we're taking symbols.
I think I think what we also had to learn is a very harsh reality about diversity. We do not need diverse imperialism. We do not need diverse white supremacists.
For sure.
And I think that's the catch where we're like, oh, we need to get someone black in there, someone brown in there. And the thing is, the job is to like if my job is to like oversee the slaves, whether I'm black or white, baby, like my job's to oversee the slaves.
That part.
It's gonna be your ass. And I don't give a fuck if you look just like me. In fact, now I gotta make sure I really impose this shit on you because I need them to know they can trust me with you. I need them to know that you know I'm different. I'm different.
No,
like,
that's why they gotta juxtapose people. I mean, shit. That's why Trump put himself next to JD Vance. I mean, it's a bold move to say that you can be on the same ticket with someone who really didn't fuck with you at all. Not the long way, not the short way, not the hard way, not no ways. But I don't want to start a whole nother topic because I gotta wrap this up for another show that I have tonight.
Is fun. I think that Trump is never like with this being his next vice president pick. I think one, it's pissing the Republicans off that Kamala really is. I guess in comparison to Trump, she might actually be, and I think that's where a lot of this shit is coming from. Like the white dudes for Kamala, I mean, everyone's like, she's better than Trump. At least she has a longer track record in politics.
For sure. I mean, if we're just gonna go with like that, then yeah.
So do we hire the dude from McDonald's or do we go with the actual politician? I guess we'll go with the politician.
That might be the case, though. I mean, that might be what ultimately ends up happening because we've seen how he runs things already, and she's never had control yet.
So right? The pitch, though, is with JD Vance, he appeals to the poor working class, right? And then, like you said, he picked somebody that didn't really like his ass. So it's like, oh, look how we can come together. I will say this, though. JD Vance is more outspoken than Mike Pence ever was. And it's going to be very interesting to watch them navigate because I'm seeing JD come up a lot and he's saying things and then he's saying things behind the scenes that is coming out, which even too, you know, you never know if it's on accident or on purpose. But I mean, even too, like I said, I do think they're a threat with the emails that I'm getting from the Republican, from the GOP, like they seem concerned, like they're even talking about how much money Kamala raised and like, hey, they're putting their money where their mouth is, you guys. Are we going to let this happen? I do think that they see her as a threat. As far as being a good president or if she would make a good president, or I think at this point, Americans are like, anything is better than Trump. Like, I even think that I don't think everyone cares for the whole volatile race shit that kind of comes with Trump, because that's really like his big thing, to be honest with you. I do think that there are people that actually have a moral compass too. And so to some degree, they would like their president to be somewhat dignified, like just a little bit, you know, nothing too major. Because even with the stuff with Kamala, I'm be honest with you, nepotism is nepotism. Like they've always said, no matter what, it's who you know, right? I think that so many people in Congress, I think when I was even looking at law, someone's like, you know, even for you to be a good lawyer or to be paid well as a lawyer, it's about who you know, because that's what's going to get you into the different places. I will say if just fucking a lot got her where she is, she did a really good job. Most hoes are just on the block. So if that leveled her up to here, I do think that at least she was good at what she was doing. That says something. But it beats being rich, you know, off the backs of poor people. You know, she was on her back, totally different. Like she did the work.
I mean, isn't that she's doing some work, being the best Kamala she can be.
I mean, look, there's some women that just be out here fucking and got nothing. You mean you're like about to run for president? Like, bro, like there's levels. Like there's levels to this. Like I kind of like I don't even want to knock you. That's what she like to me. Even the Judge Joe Brown thing. Like, is it because you couldn't fuck? Because I've never really heard like someone being mad that someone is a hoe, unless they didn't get any of the hoe taxes. Like you ain't getting no pussy. That's what it was.
That might
Like,
have to be what we talk about on Monday. Hoes for Harris. I mean, hotties for Harris. You know,
what they said, the original Hot Toy Girl, which I did think was completely inappropriate. And by the way, the only reason I'm playing this because it's this what's being said, the narrative, and I'm just like, well, I mean, it sounds like she was a good hoe, though. You know, like if it was a resume or something, and you were to move up, or this was based off of some type of score system or something like that, I would think she's up, like
for sure. If she done made it all the way to the president ticket,
the little miles, you put on that thing, got you. Baby, some women ain't getting shit.
I'm saying some of y'all are not getting gas or $40.
The New York Post said that like the guy bought her a BMW and helped her get like, baby, like you doing all right, man. Okay. I'm like, I see you a whole BMW.
Using your resources the best way you know how.
Listen, she said that using what you got to get what you want to a whole nother level.
Hey, and if that's where we are, then y'all better strap in because I don't think most of America is ready for that. Oh, strap up, but not that strap, the other one. Look, I really had a lot of fun tonight because I think that this is a conversation that people might not have thought we were going to have, or at least not in this way, because we're not telling you who to vote for. We're telling you to just, do your homework. And then if looks matter to you, it might be for a reason that you might want to address because it might have nothing to do with policies or job performance as much as you were taught that your boss is not going to have tattoos, so you shouldn't get tattoos in visible places. And then in real time, a lot of us have divorced from a 9-to-5. We are entrepreneurial. We are working for ourselves.
I'm not even a boss bitch anymore, and I used to be, and I don't even care about work anymore, to be honest. Like I'm not a 9-to-5er. Don't want to be the entrepreneur. I just want to like play in my garden, do random shit, cook, write, read, have a podcast with my friends, and like just chill, like
and go to the desert and hike sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely hike. Do not leave out hiking.
Can't leave out hiking.
But like, yeah, y'all can have. I think someone recently, like, oh no, I'm not. I work. Oh, good for you. I try not to work at all. Thank you. Carry on.
Work smarter, not harder, right?
You said what?
Does it work smarter, not harder?
Absolutely. My whole
make
goal,
your money work for you.
The least amount of work for the most money. It really, I probably maybe should be on my back.
Shit, we got to take the Harris approach. Look, that might be the topic for Monday. You guys join us when we're live. Normally, it's Mondays. It's my fault. And when life's, we're just gonna have to move with the flow of things. So, y'all take care. Marie, I will chop it up with you later. And y'all have a good night. Or join me with Dr. Winters on my other channel.